Hello. For YouTube, I am a Highland tuner. My name is Jamie, and I'm an anti-natalist. I discovered antinatalism a couple of days ago, and as a negative utilitarian, it just made 100% sense to me. I couldn't see a single reason why anyone would disapprove of antinatalism. Though I was aware that people don't identify as negative utilitarians, and to my friends, they might need some convincing in order to become anti-natalist. It was to my surprise, though, that it's one of the most unphilosophically disputed philosophies. And what I mean by this is, philosophy has a few questions that are important to be asked. These include how and what, but I think most importantly is why. I was speaking with my friend the other day, and we were speaking about antinatalism, as I have a huge love for philosophy, and that's what we speak about while at school. And he would say that he disapproves of antinatalism even before I gave him some hypothetical scenarios. I gave him a hypothetical scenario I got from, I believe, Gary or Indenham off YouTube, which was, would you allow the concentration camps to occur if there was a world in which everyone, an infinite number of people, would eat ice cream for the rest of their lives in a utopia? Now, surely from a utilitarian standpoint, the unlimited amount of happiness on this utopian planet would actually allow for several hundreds of billions of people to be tortured in the most inhumane way possible, because the number of infinity is far greater, and therefore the amount of suffering experienced by those several hundred billion would actually be close to zero. The decimal places would keep going, as that's what infinity would entail. He said of course not. He said that he would not allow the concentration camps, even with 6 to 11 million, to happen, even if there was an infinite number of pleasure. So this led me to believe that he was a negative utilitarian. He disapproved of that scenario due to the suffering that would be present. So this was a good start for me. I thought, okay, I can change his view. I can perhaps persuade him to not have children in the future, because I feel as if that's my duty to try and get people to not have children through intelligent discussion. Through discussion, I then found he could not be reasoned with. He found that the extinction of the human species would be a bad thing. And this is what I mean by antinatalism is the most unphilosophically disputed philosophy, because people don't ask why when it comes to this philosophy. And I think that is sad. I think it's very crucial for the antinatalist movement to have people ask why. And I don't see how we would be able to put forth our message if we cannot get people to ask why. And what I mean by this is, he said that the extinction of the human species would be bad. But already, why? Why would the extinction of the human species be bad? Sure, there's some arrogance and emotion in there, but that's completely irrelevant to philosophy. Unless, of course, you're doing a philosophy based on emotions. So he was already a negative utilitarian, which was a good starting point. And then I tried to explain to him that if you loved your child, surely you would not want it to suffer. And the only way to have your child not suffer is to not have your child be born. Him being perhaps not an intellectual, kept trying to work his way out of the hypotheticals and saying, what if it was a utopia? I tried to explain to him that a utopia, if it could be existent, would not be existent within his child's lifetime. And that the most logical scenario would be to have him not have a child. He still disagreed with this, and then I took to the internet, and I found very similar responses. Everyone online appeared to refute antinatalism through very, very unphilosophical means, stating, similar to my friend, that the extinction of the human species would be bad without giving an objective reason as to why it would be bad. As most antinatalists have seen, I dare say they have seen the natalist saying the me, me, me argument, which is, I have a good life, I want to have my child to have a good life, but they don't realize the why behind it, of why would you risk the sadness? Why does the pleasure matter when you can avoid all suffering? And this has made me very confused, because as a negative utilitarian, no philosophy has ever made as much sense to me before, except for negative utilitarianism. So now I ask, how is it that us anti-natalists will be able to spread our message successfully in not only a society but a world void of logic and reason? How are we able to get our message across to those people who do not understand the basic principles of philosophy, which is overcome your own bias? I believe that we cannot. I believe that our species will be doomed to repeat in a cycle of endless suffering until the entire planet is destroyed. I do hope this is not the case. And in the meantime, I will try and convince every individual I meet to try to not have children in the most respectful way possible. However, with this, everyone that I have spoken to so far, like my friend, has disagreed with the principles of antinatalism. This is shocking to me. Before I discovered antinatalism, I did not want to have a child. But when I discovered antinatalism, it made me angry that people knew about antinatalism and still disagreed with it. People who have child without knowledge of antinatalism, they are ignorant in some sense, and that's not necessarily a negative name for them. Everyone is ignorant. But these types of ignorant, when they have a child, they are subjecting that child to suffering without consent. But when the people are aware of antinatalism and then disagree with it, that is a very big issue. And my friends have now said that they would want a child even after a 30-40 minute intelligent conversation with them. I feel as if my friendship with them has been weakened. My friends have basically told me, hey, I want to rape people. Because let's face it, childbirth has got to be the most immoral thing on the planet. I can understand the desire to childbirth. There are biological reasons for it, obviously, as there are the emotional reasons. But with the biology, we have conscious thought, something that a lot of animals do not. And as such, I think we should be able to override our philosophy, we should be able to override our biological instincts. This can be seen in rape. Rape is very common throughout the animal kingdom, and it's a very important tool of reproduction. But us as humans have been able to figure out that the pain and suffering caused by rape is a negative, and as such we should not rape. So if we can say rape is wrong, why can't we say antinatalism is wrong? If someone could refute antinatalism in a very philosophical way, I would stop being an antinatalist. However, with the amount of sense that antinatalism makes, and the lack of arguments made against antinatalism in a philosophical way, I would have to say that I would probably be an antinatalist for life. But then I ask a question to anyone watching this: how are we able to get through to people void of logic? How are we able to make people understand the principles of antinatalism in a way that overrides their emotional and lack of logical beliefs? Thank you for watching.